Today we're talking to central defenders Jake Cooper and Lewis Baines. Last action for the Robins was a fantastic 3-2 victory over Barnet on Saturday in front of 2,379 at the J. Davidson Stadium. Jake, let's come to you first. Fantastic game of football.
Yeah, I think it were a really good performance. I think the boys really turned up, obviously, at their place. Tough game. And they sort of just run over us, really. So I think it shows how far we've come in that amount of time. And like the scoreline could have been more favourable for us, really. We could have scored more. We could have not conceded the goals. So overall, yeah, like I said, just shows how far we've come and what a good group of players we've got.
Early in the second half, it looked like probably 5 or 6-0 was a more likely scoreline than 3-2. But credit to Barnet, they kept going.
Yeah, well, you know, the end of the day, they've always been up there this season, you know, second and third. And they're going to throw everything at it at the end of the day. They've got nothing to lose at 3-0 down. And fair play to them, you know, they've got themselves back in with a chance. But I think we've done well to hold on.
And defensively, we were very strong because in the first half they had a good spell, lots of possession, and the likes of Cano and Hartigan and Brunt were causing us problems in midfield, but they didn't really create anything.
No, I think we soaked it up quite well. Kept our shape at times when we had to, and we're happy with them having the ball. Obviously, we'd like to have the ball more often than not, but I think we've got a lot better at soaking it up really when the opposition's got it.
And in Nika Kabamba, they've clearly got one of the best strikers in the league, but he was pretty quiet throughout. You've kept him under wraps.
Yeah, I mean, you look at players you're coming up against for every game in your analysis, and obviously I think he's the league's top scorer. So to keep him out is obviously a good accolade.
And Lewis, come on to you. You were man of the match, and it could have been 5 or 6 players on the day because it was one of those days where the team really functioned.
Yeah, I think obviously echoing what Coop's quite said, we owed them one, and I think we definitely did that. Obviously the scoreline, I think it flatters them a little bit, but like you said, we could have been 5 or 6. You know, everyone was brilliant. We all came together. It seemed like we've got a tough run of games coming up. And that's a real statement from us.
The second goal just before half-time, which you scored, was a huge moment in the game, and fantastic to see a set piece come off. We've been much stronger at those in recent times.
Well, yeah, it's just that obviously comes from the in training. We do a lot on it nowadays on Fridays and looking at the other team and where we can hurt them. And luckily for me, a few times this season, it's fell to me in the right places and have put them away.
And you were playing in the left-back position, which is not your favoured position, but you've done really well there in the last couple of games.
No, and obviously that's what the gaffer said. I've played quite well there. It's not my favourite position, but I can play there and I can do a job for the team. You know, you've got to be versatile nowadays. You can't just be able to play in one set position. And I'll do whatever I can to help the team.
And 4 goals for you this season, which is a nice return for a central defender.
Well, yeah, I think I only scored 1 last year out of about 40 games, so, you know, you take what you can get. But now I've got to keep looking forward and see how many more I can grab.
And that was the Wrexham in the FA Trophy?
Yeah, Wrexham.
Yeah, so nice finish as well. We spoke in the Sponsors Lounge after Saturday's game. It wasn't quite the Bergkamp-esque of the game against Hartlepool, but it was a really good strike.
Yeah, I think it's just a bit instinctive. I just saw it coming and then luckily got there first to the ball and just smashed it home. Luckily, I kept it under the bar because I thought I was going to put it over. But no, I'm glad to obviously score a few goals this season and help the team.
And clearly, we've got a lot of flair players in the team. Our front four is, I think you'd match them up against anybody in this league. But statistically and in terms of performances, where we've made the big improvement this season is defensively. And we're probably as strong as we've ever been in the 7 seasons under Phil Parkinson and Neil Sauville.
Well, yeah, 100%. I think obviously we've worked on it all season on how to keep the back door shut because obviously you could see last year that was an issue. But I think last season we didn't necessarily defend so bad. It was more the types of goals we conceded in times and in games. Whereas this season you've seen a lot of games where, you know, you'd have looked at it last year and thought they wouldn't have held on. or how easy the other day against Barnet. We could have gone 3-1, 3-2 and then ended up drawing in the game. But you can definitely see throughout, we complement the front four and they complement us, because if we can keep it out, we know for a fact that they're going to score and win us the game.
And in terms of the season, how it's panning out, we're comfortably in the playoffs now and have been for a few weeks, and we've got a huge opportunity here to make the playoffs.
Yeah, massively. And you can see, obviously, like I said before, that game on Saturday was a massive statement, like we've done a few times this season. Your likes against Chesterfield at home, going away to Gateshead when they were doing brilliant. You can see we're coming together as a team, and we've added in the right places where we needed to boost the squad. But yeah, we're looking forward and hopefully can stay in these playoff positions and push on.
And Jake, to come back to you, a key to staying in the playoff positions is the next few games, because we've got a very difficult month after the trophy game against Kidderminster on Saturday. It's Chesterfield away, Southend away. Doesn't get much more difficult than that. Rochdale at home, and then Eastleigh if they're not playing Manchester United on that day, and then we finish off with the Cheshire Senior Cup game. But it's a very, very tough looking month.
Yeah, I think if you look at like the top half of the table, the top 11, it's really close up there. I feel like there's not many points. A lot of teams pushing for not so many places. So it's going to be a tough month. But we've started the month off well. But obviously picked up a good point against Halifax with 10 men, and like Baines has said, we've made a statement with the win against Barnet. So there's no reason why we can't have a strong month.
And Saturday's win, I think, really put the point at the Shea Stadium into perspective. Such a valuable point. Yeah,
I think if you look at like how we've defended that game, just like the full team, not just the defence. Like people running about, getting after people, regardless with how many men we've got, and we've done that against them twice. So yeah, just a really valuable point.
And it's really tight at the top. If things had gone against us on Saturday, we could have dropped as low as 10th, but we're nicely in the mix with that win. And to beat a team as good as Barnet, that's going to give the squad and everybody around the club a lot of confidence.
Yeah, but I feel like we go into most games feeling like we can beat anyone really on our day. I think if we turn up, if everyone turns up, every player puts a shift in and shows the quality, I feel like we've got a squad here that is capable of beating anyone.
And it's almost 2 years since you first signed for the club on loan from Rotherham United, and without doubt you're in the best form of certainly your time at Altrincham and probably your career.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's the best football that I've ever played. I think that's due down to the gaffer trusting in me and giving me a good run of games, and I'd like to think that I've repaid him with performances. So yeah, it's really good for me at the minute.
And when you joined the club, we were still a part-time club. How much difference has it made moving to full-time? Yeah,
well, it's massive. Obviously, I was in full-time before, and then when I was looking for a club in the summer and the gaffer told me that we was going full-time here, it was something that I was really interested in. And it's been seamless, to be fair. It's really good here, really good setup. Facilities are great, everything's great. So yeah, it's just good, really. And
was there a particular point in time where you felt that this is going to be a good season for me? Because up until the start of this season, you'd never really had a really good long run in the first team. But once you got established this season, you've made that spot your own.
Yeah, I feel like I finished last season on a bit of a low. So I felt like I had to come back in and I had a point to prove, to show people my ability and what I can do out there. So I got myself in good shape over the summer and just come back firing, really. And I think the gaffer's seen that and like I said, trusted me with a big run of games.
I think when you're on loan at Gateshead and you played against us in a 2-0 victory for Gateshead, it was just before COVID, wasn't it? January 2020, I think it was. Mike Williamson, the Gateshead manager, said he might have been hyping you up a bit, but he said that I think there's a championship central defender in the making there, and you're living up to that expectation.
Yeah, you have to believe it. I'm not at the championship yet. Obviously, all of us would like to play there. but it's just a journey and a process. Like we were saying before, last year, like I was struggling to get in the team really, and had a few injuries and this and that. So it's been good for me to get a nice run of games and pick up some form.
And Lewis, coming back to you, second season now. You had a good season last year. As you mentioned, we didn't defend that badly last season. There was we gave away a few silly goals. So on balance, both seasons have gone very well for you since you joined us from Chorley.
Yeah, obviously at the start of last season I was out of position at the start and obviously then picked up a little injury, but ever since I sort of came back in November I've been like a bit of a mainstay in the team. Enjoyed growing and learning under Parky and Sovs. But no, I'm enjoying playing, especially when we're doing really well this season. Obviously a testament to Coops as well, because I've played next to the majority of the time. You know, we formed a bit of a partnership together, along with obviously like Eddie to the left of me and then, you know, your midfield in front. But no, I've enjoyed it and just want to keep going and try and stay in the team as long as I can and try and do good things with the club.
Next action is on Saturday in the FA Trophy fourth round. We travel to Kidderminster Harriers. They've just lost their manager, which means that it'll probably be presenting a different challenge to us than it might have done if Russell Penn was still there.
Yeah, it's always difficult to play a team where they've not obviously got a manager in, or they could have a manager in by Saturday, couldn't they? But obviously the players have a point to prove because a new manager will be coming in. He'll want to know who his 11 is. So he'll want to see him put a real performance in. And obviously we played them a couple of months ago and they held us to a draw at home. And they made it difficult for us, but we probably still should have won that game. It was one that we think it was 2 points dropped. But no, we have to just go there and make another statement and then progress in this trophy. Try and get one step further than we did last year.
They're a little bit like Halifax in that they are very sound defensively and not prolific in terms of scoring goals. Clearly, they're not as good as Halifax. So it's a big opportunity for us on Saturday, and we're very much looking to wipe away the memory of the bitter defeat against Halifax in the semi-final last season.
Yeah, of course. We just want to go one step further in this competition, which obviously we need to win about another 4 or 5 games to get to that point. But we've got to start somewhere. Obviously, we beat Halifax, and that was a brilliant boost, especially in the manner that we did it. But now it's time to go to Kiddie away on Saturday, hopefully with a lot of support behind us, and obviously get the win, get through to the next round, and look who we get next Monday in the draw.
And our next league action's a huge game at Chesterfield. Last season, I thought it was a heroic defensive performance, one of the best defensive performances I've seen from an Altrincham team in the last few years. And in the end, we just missed out when Ash Palmer won a header from a corner late on.
Yeah, but I think that sort of summed up our season last year. You know, how we would play well in games and defend resilient, and then there'd always be like a little something that would just obviously kill the momentum of the game. And unfortunately for us, the result didn't go our way. But we've beat Chesterfield at home this season. Why can't we go away and do it? You know, we're not really afraid of anyone anymore. We can beat anyone in this league, and we've just got to turn up and be as good as we can.
And Jake, if you look at Chesterfield's home record, it's frightening, but they've got to lose at some time.
Yeah, well, you know, they've got a good team, good budget. You know, it's a big club for this division. So you'd like to think that they'd have a good record, but yeah, like Baines has said, I mean, we did well against them at home, so why can't we go to their place and beat them?
And after Chesterfield, it's another really, really tough looking assignment at Southend United. You certainly played against them 2 seasons ago. I can't remember if you played last season, but that is all. Yeah, there's going to be 6,000 or 7,000 people there, maybe more. And it's a great place to go. It's a place where players want to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice when you're playing in front of in the big stadiums, you know, the ex-league grounds, and they've got big fans on, and there's a nice atmosphere. But yeah, it'd be a tough game. Obviously, it's always tough when you go down there. I feel like the crowd obviously helps with that as well for Southend. But I think we drew last year.
2-2, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then I think we lost. Did we lose the year before?
2-0, yeah.
So hopefully we can something to build on, and hopefully we can get a result down there.
Finally, it'll be an opportunity for Dan Mooney to return to where he's been very, very recently. He was here when you joined the club, and it's great to have him back.
Yeah, it is great. Yeah, he's a really good lad, and obviously from all the fans who've seen him play before, know what a talent he is. He's a great player, and it's a great addition for us to have to help us kick on.
Okay, that's the thoughts of Jake Cooper and Lewis Baines, both having outstanding seasons for Altrincham Football Club in what's turning out to be a really exciting campaign. And it continues on Saturday when we travel to Kidderminster Harriers in the FA Trophy, kick-off 3 p.m. at Agborough Stadium.